Hello, welcome back. Today I want to talk a little yoga vocabulary with you, and I want to talk about the word Abhyasa. Before I get into that, if you're new here, my name is Douglas Johnson. I am a yoga teacher at the advanced 500-hour level, and I'm also an ordained minister and kirtan artist. Anyway, if you'd like to support this kind of content, please check out my Patreon page where you'll find lots of extras like 432 Hertz music for meditation, relaxation, audio-only versions of my classes, and a host of other stuff. Okay, Abhyasa. What does this word mean? Well, it's a Sanskrit word like the other yoga vocabulary words we're using, and it generally refers to a diligent, uninterrupted, focused practice. And this can be thought of both in a microcosmic and more of a macrocosmic way. I think I'm going to focus more on the macrocosmic element today because I think it's more relevant for most yoga practitioners. So I remember watching a video by one of my teachers, Paul Grilly, and in it, he says, I think I'm quoting here exactly, but if not, it's pretty close. He said that yoga doesn't work its magic through one heroic session or effort. He says yoga works its magic basically through consistent, persistent practice. And this is really how yoga was intended to be practiced. Now, what does that mean for us? Well, it means that if you are the casual yoga participant, you're going once a week, maybe not even once a week, once every few weeks. It's inconsistent, the different days, different times. Well, you may not feel the magic that is possible with yoga. However, if your practice is consistent and it's persistent, for some people, practicing yoga might be something they do 3 times a week, which is what I usually recommend for people starting out. That's a good start. Spread them out a few days. So maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, take the weekend off. That's a good start. For others, might actually be daily. Practicing meditation especially is something that many people find is extremely helpful to do on a daily basis, a regular basis. So practicing meditation every day, doing some postural yoga every day, maybe doing breath work every day, chanting, perhaps that is your sadhana, your practice every day. And our sadhana, our practice, can change our spiritual practice, of course. Prayer is another thing that might be our yoga practice. Studying a scripture like the Bhagavad Gita, this might also be part of our yoga, actually, even spiritual discussions. But what Abhyasa is pointing to, and again, this is a word that Patanjali uses in the Yoga Sutras, is whatever it is, it should be consistent. It should be regular. And I know that some people might try and prescribe a blanket amount and say you should practice every day, or you should practice X amount. And I don't like to do that because I think everyone is going to be different. So the question you want to ask yourself is, am I seeing the results out of my practice that I'd like to see? So many people in a modern yoga setting, they come initially for fitness goals. So maybe they want to lose some weight. Maybe they want to get stronger or improve their balance. I don't personally really recommend yoga for these goals. I know people come and it's not up to me, so you do you. But really, yoga for me as a teacher is really much more than just a fitness program or something to get a little bit stronger or whatever it might be. It does all those things, but those are almost like a byproduct. And really what we're looking at when we're looking at yoga is something to raise us to our highest spiritual potential. So it's really a spiritual practice. So what we want is whatever the goal is that we do think we want. Again, maybe it's fitness, maybe it's spiritual transformation or growth, maybe it's just psychologically feeling calmer or more peaceful. Again, these are all things that I've seen happen practicing yoga. So whatever they are, am I experiencing those things? And if the answer is no, there are two things that you might look at. One is, do I have the right practice, the right sadhana? Am I doing the right thing? So again, if I want to lose weight, that's my goal, and I'm meditating, that's my yoga sadhana and my yoga practice, that's probably not going to get me to that goal, right? But if I want to lose weight and I'm doing hot yoga, hot power yoga, then that possibly could get me to my goal. And so again, is the practice that I'm using, is that practice promising me the goal that I'm after? We can also look at it the other way. If I'm practicing yoga asana, yoga postures, and I want to have a deep spiritual awakening, well, that may not be the right practice for that to happen. I'm not going to say it never happens, but that really isn't the purpose of an asana practice, to have us have this deep, like Kundalini awakening experience. It really wasn't designed for that. So again, choosing something like meditation, chanting, that might be a better choice of practice. So do I have the right practice? And then secondarily, am I practicing enough? And that's something you can look back at some of my other talks. I've talked a bit about dosing. So we understand this when it comes to medicine, that if I don't take the right dose of medicine, I'm not going to have the desired effect, right? If I take too little aspirin, I will still have my headache. If I take too much, I might get sick or die. So there's the right amount. What is the right amount? So again, because we're individuals, the right amount is really going to be based on your experience. Are you seeing the results that you want? Practicing yoga asana, power yoga once a week, expecting to lose weight, it's probably not going to happen, right? I probably need to increase the dose. Same with having, say, a spiritual awakening, spiritual clarity, Kundalini awakening. I'm meditating once a week, twice a week, that's it. Is it going to happen? Anything is possible, but it's not likely. Okay, so likely I will need to increase the dose if I want something to happen. Okay, so Abhyasa, again, this is regular, persistent, consistent practice daily. As just a blanket statement, that's probably going to give you the best results. But practically speaking, maybe for many practices and for many of us, it may not be possible to do every single day consistently. So what can you do, right? Finding that right amount, that balance for you that's going to work. Anyway, I would love to hear from you, your experience with regular, persistent, consistent practice. Is this something you've tried? What were the results? Are you maybe frustrated with where you are now with your practice? And you look and examine and find that, you know what, I actually haven't been that consistent. I have been inconsistent in coming to classes. Maybe you can create more consistency there. All right, everyone. Again, please check out the Mahapatha Yoga Patreon. Lots of stuff over there that might interest you. You can also help support this content if you want. Until next time, namaste. Have a beautiful day.